Okay, so first of all, in today's presentation, what I'm going to tell you what biomedical research is actually about, what biomedical scientists do, and why it's a great field to have a lot of opportunities, and how you can proceed to become a biomedical researcher if ultimately you decide to go and pursue your career into that. So before going into much detail, some of the basics. What biomedical researchers do actually, they try to understand the human health and diseases and try to find out new mechanisms and then targeting certain receptors or mechanisms to treat that disease. So as you are all still in the first year, you might not know how this actually works, So what happened? One day you decide that I'm so interested to study asthma and try to find out new medicines, better medicines to treat asthma, for example. So what would you do? You will basically look at the current knowledge, what we have so far, what are the preclinical research, preclinical models. So preclinical research is basically what you do in the animals. Before performing any clinical research, you have to go through this phase. But in biomedical sciences, what we try to do is we try to gain the knowledge from the basic sciences or biosciences in the laboratory. Now we are not testing our medicine in any kind of animal or any kind of human. So the basic research or the basic science is the foundation of the biomedical research, where you will study everything on the biological level to understand. For example, if I want to try to find a medicine to treat asthma, then I have to look what are the cells involved in that disease. For example, mast cells are involved in the treatment of asthma. And then I will look for the cell lines or any kind of tool what I can study on the bench in the laboratory. And then I will try to gather that knowledge. I will try to look for the chemistry of that particular molecule, which can be targeted. And then I will do the formulation, and then I will go to the preclinical research to see the efficacy and the toxicology of my molecule. And then I will go for the clinical research. And from the clinical research, if there is something new knowledge coming based on the patient reports, then again, I can convert that knowledge to take into the bench in the basic sciences, and then I can start the whole cycle again. So if you are into biomedical sciences, there is a very important term called translational research. And translational research is basically discoveries generated during your basic or biological sciences, and then applied to the preclinical sciences, and then going to the development of that particular molecule into the humans. And when I talk about the health product, this is a publication coming from the bulletin of WHO from July 2019. Sorry, that's wrong. And what they have shown in that bulletin is that all the health products which can help to treat a disease or helps to prevent a disease, such as vaccines, or they can use to diagnose a disease, and that have active pharmaceutical ingredients. And so far, 86,000 product has been developed since 1995 to 2019. So you can understand the one product cost a pharmaceutical industry millions of euros or millions of dollars. So 86,000 products. So you can understand how big the market is. That we are talking about trillions of euros have been invested since 1995 to develop these products. If we talk about current scenario, Then there are at least 15,000, approximate 15,000 product in the clinical phase of development. Out of those, 87% are targeting non-communicable disease. And out of those 87%, most of the research goes to the cancer, because as you know, the cancer is being so common these days. That's why we have to come up with a better therapeutics for that. Then you have communicable diseases. And in the communicable diseases, the infectious diseases are being targeted to develop better therapeutic options. And that is almost 80% of all the investment what we are doing at the moment. So how do you decide what is good and bad research, So in today's context, whenever you are doing any kind of biomedical research or research in any field, you have to publish your data. Before doing so, your research is not going to be accepted worldwide. So to show the community, to make in believe what you have done so far, whether it's correct or not, methodologically, concept-wise, or anyways, you have to publish your data in high-ranking journals. And you can see some of the names from clinical sciences like JAMA, Lancet, and New Engine. And you have basic science, Cell, Nature, and Sciences, so all what you read in your book or what you will read in the future in your books, first these studies are getting published in these journals. They are getting accepted by the community. And when you talk about the community in science, that involves the whole world. The scientists from whole world, from that particular field, they're gonna read your work, they're gonna review your work, they're gonna send you back. And then they're gonna ask you, why did you do that? If you do that, what's the reason behind it? Have you done that differently? What is the context in the future for that? So this is how the publication is the ultimate aim of your research. Whatever you do should be accepted widely by the research community from all over the world. Then there are mid-ranking journals. They are very good journals as well, and they publish very good studies. And there is what you see on the right panel in the graph A. So far, the percentage of global publication output in high-ranked journals is governed by the USA, which is 50 to 60%. But that has been declining over the time, like in 5 years, a few percentage, and the China is going from 2000 to 2015 had made a tremendous progress. In graph B, what you see, the international collaboration of USA and China, that is also being increased in these years. In this slide, what you see, the top 10 to 15 countries who share their percentage. Of course, putting USA as 100% because that is ranking top on the list. And not only these countries publish because they have great scientists or great mind, that's not true. Because they invest a lot in their biomedical research. So if you see the R&D expenditure and the number of papers, the country which are spending more, publishing more. Because since I'm working in this field, I know the kind of technology we use so far, it's really top to the notch. And that's how the world is going to reform. And if we have to make our position in the biomedical sciences, then it has to be done with the high-end technologies. And India is a great place for that because we can come up with so many solutions when it comes to the technology transfer or doing the same experiment or doing the same tech or solving the same technical problem with the very low financial measures. So this is all about, this might have given you idea that how biomedical sciences are, science or the biomedical research field is very vast, very important. But just I will talk about now my experience that how I got into that. So pharmacy curriculum in India is the best so far what I have found because we are not covering the we are not only covering the formulation part or the dispensing part, like what a pharmacist do in the pharmaceutical industry or in the dispensing or at the medical store, but we are also focusing quite a lot on the research part. What you can see, the vast availability of the courses in your master degree. I did my master's in pharmacology, and now we have expanded to the pharmacy practice as well. Then we have pharmaceutical analysis, we have medicinal chemistry. So what you can do, you can literally the whole thing, how a drug has been discovered, how a molecule has been discovered, and how it ended up to your desk in your home when you are sick, when you have to eat that medicine. The overall knowledge literally helps you to go anywhere abroad and to work on it. So if you literally work on your curriculum, read a lot from the books and not just getting knowledge from a few, don't look for the shortcuts. Always ask questions. If I'm reading this, why it is there? And how did it discovered? How did it happen? How did someone thought about this? That how should I look into that cells? How should I look into that molecule? And what's the reason behind it? So you will find all the answers in your curriculum. Once I finished my master, so I took my master project very seriously. So I was working in the JSS, and they have a pharmacy practice department there. So, the students used to go to the hospital. So I asked my supervisor, I don't want to only do the preclinical work in my research, but I also want to involve a bit of study with humans, because I wanted to see that what I do in the animals, whether it can be translated to the humans, whether the drug, what I was studying was omeprazole with the combination of probiotics to treat the gastroesophageal reflux disease. So I designed a little project, but during that preparations, the best thing in India is that the preclinical research and clinical research are done ethically by the global standards. So you have to look for the proper guidelines. You have to look for ICH and GCP guidelines, for example, if you want to perform a clinical trial. If you want to study your drug in the animals, then you have CPC ACA in India. That is the ethics committee for the animal experiments. So you have to look for this guideline. So it's not only what you want to do into your research, but you have to do it properly. You have to do it according to the guidelines. And that's what makes it a bit complicated, but that's what a good research is about, not only what you think could be done in terms of research context, but also how you can perform it. Of course, thinking about the society and the long-term context of your research. In my PhD, I've done some collaborations. So I was studying a lot in neuroscience. So also the knowledge from the M-Pharmacy helped me a lot to work on my project in my PhD. And also during that time, I have also learned a lot new techniques, which was basically molecular biology related technique like Western blots, PCRs, and that has been added to my curriculum over time. When I started my postdoc after my PhD, that was almost starting a new PhD because I had no idea. And in my PhD, I have been working on the preclinical trials, so a lot about with the animals, but I was missing that part. I wanted to directly see the effect in humans. That's why I chose this department to do my postdoc, which is a translational research institute where they literally find how do you translate your research from animals to humans or from your laboratory to humans. So ultimately, whatever you do in the lab or in the animal should end up helping to humans. whether it's diagnosis, whether it's treatment, doesn't matter. But I don't see my career from my bachelor's to postdoc in terms of the degree I have achieved. So you can literally choose, you can exit any moment you want and you can still pursue your research career. What I see my career in terms of skills I have got. So for example, in my basic curriculum of pharmacy, I've learned basic knowledge and the guidelines of preclinical studies, clinical studies. I've done my master project, and then I got knowledge that how can I do this two studies together in parallel. And then I started reading the international the articles from the renowned international authors, and that's how I understood, okay, this is how it works, this is how it goes. So when I joined my PhD, then I have to learn something new from the biological sciences that I have never done it, because there were a lot about the techniques from the biotechnology and the genetics. And then after that, I realized that not only what you do, your research is important, but how do you tell it to the people? Because you have to deal with, when you are doing a research as a scientist in your lab, you have to convince the policymaker, you have to convince the funding agencies, you have to convince the people that you are doing it in the right direction. So for that, the important thing is always that you should have a good presentation skills. If you are doing a great research, but you cannot present it properly in the writing, or if you cannot write it in a correct way, then that's really make a huge difference, you know. So that's why the presentation and publications, it's important. And in biomedical sciences, the collaborations. Since today we use so many technologies for the research that cannot be available in one campus. So that's why you always have to look for the collaborators, that I have this research question in my project, and how can I solve it? Do I have a facility to do that? If I don't have a facility to do that, how it can be done in the collaboration? Maybe someone else have that kind of animal model which I'm looking for, or another skill what I don't have it. So that's why, you know, when I started my postdoc, I have got even more interested into what I have been doing. And that's why I started even expanding my skills more. In genetics, the reason what we are doing is single cell RNA-seq. So now you can not only know the genome of your whole body, but it is important now that you know the genetic makeup of your single cell. For example, I gave you for example, I was talking about asthma. If I want to now find a new target for the target to treat asthma, then I will take lung tissues, and then I will look for the single cell in the lung tissues. There are like hundreds of types of single cells. And then I will look at the genetic makeup of that particular cell. And then I will compare it with the healthy volunteer and will try to find it some kind of genetic link which may affect certain kind of receptors, and that can change the response of those particular cells. And in my case, it's a mast cells which play an important role there. Then in immunology, there is a technique called flow cytometry that is booming quite a lot. And besides that, last year I took many courses to like soft skills. So what I would suggest you already, while you are doing your, while you are continuing your journey into pharmacy, of course, focus on your curriculum. But apart from that, it's important that you develop some kind of soft skills related to presentation, project management, and especially writing. So even if you don't want to pursue the research, these are the 3 skills going to help you throughout your career. Whatever you do doesn't matter. So just to summarize, to tell you that in biomedical research, you have preclinical area where you gain the training and knowledge of guidelines related to animal research. Then you have clinical research where you will gain training and knowledge of guidelines related to clinical trials. Then you have biological research there you will do a sort of experiments or sort of technique you would get acquainted with, where you will learn to do a lot of biological experiment. And then you have genetics, immunology, and advanced microscopy that's booming at the moment. So three, uh, this three area, or this three field of science, make a huge impact in the current biomedical research. Apart from this, you should have presentation, publications, and biostatistics. And as I have mentioned already, the networking, communication, and management has a huge importance. And if you look at the salary expectations, or like how much a biomedical researcher makes, so that's the last thing to think about, because if you are doing great in your research career, then this will come automatically. Of course, the US and Canada have the higher salaries. So far, Europe, it's somewhere in the middle. Latin America and Asia, they actually stand together. But you have to also look in USA and in Europe. Although in USA the salaries are high, but they do not have extra benefits, and it's so expensive to live there compared to any part of the world. So you have to always compare the quality of life, the stress level you will have when you are living in that country, and of course you have to think about where you want to end up. But for the biomedical sciences or the research career, it's always important that you move from one place to the other. You always see what is happening in other places, how other labs are functioning, and how they are trying to gain the knowledge. And this is again the salary, which definitely goes from grad student to the postdoc to research assistant and assistant professor and professor. This is about USA. And in Europe, that is actually a bit different. The postdocs and the assistant professor get the same salaries because they have a similar kind of skills, and the comparison and the equality between the salaries are very, very good here in Europe. In USA, you can see the difference. In academia, biomedical researcher makes less money, but of course they have less stress. In industry, they make more money, of course, but you always have to find a balance. So in Europe, it's not true in this context as well, that in academia and industry, the package is actually comparable with each other. So that's how I would end up, by acknowledging all the places I have been, and the people I have had work or opportunity to learn with, or I have had contributed in some project. So this is really important as a researcher, that you keep moving, you keep gaining knowledge, and you of course provide your own knowledge for the ongoing projects in those labs as well. And I would like to thank you for your attention. Hello.
You, sir, is done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for sharing your great knowledge with us in the field of research, skill development, publications. It will definitely work in the future also. Students, any questions? We have question hour session here. Students? You can write in the chat box also if you have any questions.
You can ask any general question, it doesn't have to be related to research or something. If you want to know something, how preclinical research works, how clinical research works, how biological sciences work, and any sort of question, it doesn't have to be really whatever pops in your mind, because it's important that you ask questions. That really would help you to decide what you want to do next.
Sir, one student is there. Sahil Jain. He want to ask that he knows about the future in pharmaceutics. What is the future in pharmaceutics?
Future in pharmaceutics. Well, you will be doing a lot of work. So the research part is still exists in the pharmaceutics as well. So when you go for M-Pharma in pharmaceutics, for example, what you will study, what is the active constituent in your medicine, what kind of formulation you will develop, whether it's a solid dosage form, liquid dosage form, and you will have a guidelines related to that. So you can do you can give your contribution directly into a pharmaceutical industry in formulation part, for example, or you can do the research. Like, for example, what is the chemistry of my molecule, and if I wanna, so you can go into production or you can go into research, for example, that if I want to develop a good dosage form where I will have a good bioavailability of my active pharmaceutical ingredient, so what are the physical characteristic of my formulation should be. So these kind of things. So this is one point. So you can go into the production, you can go into the formulation, you can go into the R&D related to pharmaceutics. If have I answered your question, or is it something more you want to know, or something specific you want to know?
Okay, sir. Aditya Gupta, ask your query. Okay, he said done, ma'am. Done, sir. Thank you, sir. Aditya
Okay.
Gupta. Aditya, you can unmute yourself also, huh? You can ask question.
Sir, what are the way and criteria to get admission in foreign pharmacy college?
Well, it really depends on where you want to go. So for instance, US, Canada, Australia, all these English speaking countries, the first thing you have to take some test. So such as your GRE, and TOEFL. First, they want to check whether you can speak proper English. So first thing, they will check your English. So before even starting your preparation for pharmacy abroad, you have to start preparing for your GRE and TOEFL. That's one thing. And after that, you can apply, to different university with the grades you have done. And but why do you want to go and do your bachelor's in pharmacy abroad? Because that would cost you a lot. What I say, you try for master's or PhD, because that's you can get funding. So you can literally fund your you can fund not for bachelor degree or even master. When you have such a great curriculum in India, it's a bit, a lot of work and a lot of investment of time and money. So, but if you want to do that, first you have to take this basic course, basic exams like TOEFL and GRE. And in Europe, it's really a bit difficult because a lot of courses in pharmacy are provided in the local languages. For example, in Belgium, there are three official languages: Dutch, German, and French. So these basic courses, only few of them are provided in English, and that's a bit difficult. Although in Germany and Europe, the basic education is free, so it doesn't cost you money, but you will still have to spend some money to live here. So your expenditure will be like 10 times more than what you would pay in India, for instance.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, what is the future of research in India, sir?
future of research in India it's really great because I have been abroad because I've got this opportunity there, but I have been working with many colleagues who did masters of pharmacy together with me, and then they have gone either into the research or and then they have got a very good fundings from the central institutes like CSIR, ICMR. So in India, you are more flexible, you have more, you are more flexible to perform your research. There are two types of research in India, at academic level and at industry level. So what happens at the academic level? You will, if you develop an interest in certain area or in certain pathological thing, then you can design your own project. You will discuss with your supervisor that I want to study this and that. And then you can literally go as far as you can go. You are a little bit free to decide, and then you can ask for funding from the national research councils to fund your research. But if you go to industry, then you will have a certain protocol, that the projects are pretty much designed by the top scientist in the company, and then you will get the protocols. Okay, as a fresher, they will not let you to design the project. So the first 5 years, you will think that, that will be your learning phase. Then you will get a protocol. So while you are conducting that research, or while you are conducting that kind of research, you will learn the basics of research. While in academia, you will be more free to decide, read your own and applying your own ideas. So and recently they have also started a lot. You can look for the Wellcome Trust fellowships, for instance. So what I seen last year, the current openings are huge, and they are trying to involve the young researchers. Have I answered your question, or do you have something specific to ask?
No, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anybody else? Students? I think almost done, sir.
Okay.
Just your session was very informative. Actually, so many things are new to me also.
Yeah, but you can also, if you want to know something, Kulgu, then you may also like ask, and just what I would be happy, or later if you guys think something pops up in your mind, just reach me via LinkedIn or via my official mail ID, and then I will get back to you.
So definitely, so please share your mail ID with us.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely in contact, sir. Actually, I'm also in, like I'm pursuing my PhD, so I have so many questions. So I'll ask you personally.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So Dean sir with us. Dean sir? Dean sir? Dean sir? It's okay, sir. Anybody? Any questions? Gaurav? Okay, sir. क्यों सर आप एंड कर सकते हैं मीटिंग अगर आप चाहें.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone.
Okay. Sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye. Have a good day.
Sir, just one chat is there, sir. Just one. Okay, sir. Sir, shall I end the meeting, sir? You, sir?
Yeah, sure. It's been a great pleasure to interact with you all, and share some of my experience. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye.
Okay. Good day, sir.